Let's proceed to the JTextField. The JTextField in Java, it will help you to get user input or to take in user input from the user. For example, do you see those fields or those components which be asking you to enter your name or your password when you are logging in? That's the JTextField. So in Java, to create a JTextField, you you create it just like a button or just like these other components we've been looking at. So how do you do this? You say JTextField, we give it a name, call mine JT1 equals to new JTextField. So we will need to take in an import for the JTextField. Note that this is taking in user input from the users, so you cannot give it a title from here. Actually, it's not taking in anything from here, but we'll need to customize it just like these other components. So I'll say JT1 dot set bounds. I'll need to give it set its bounds to give it width and the margins. I'll give it a, let me give it a margin of 50 left, 50 top. I'll make it 150. Let me make it 100, 100 width and 50 height. So I'll need to add it to my frame so that it is visible. Frame.add. So let me run our program to see what we currently have. So currently this is our JTextField where we can write or we can give some input to our program. So let me customize this more, and also I'll bundle this with other components so that we get a look at how it works. First of all, I'll create a JLabel. Let me come here, I say JLabel. I'll name this name. Equals to new JLabel. I'll set bounds for our name. So I'll make it 50 left, 50 height, 50 top margin, 100 width, and I'll make it 30 height. So this is our JLabel. So I'll add our JLabel to the frame. So our JLabel is called name. I'll add it to the frame to make it visible. So this is our JLabel name. Now I'll need to add a JTextField name. Let me make this JT name. So our program will be asking a user to enter the name in the text field. So this JT name, I'll change its bounds from This margin 50, I'll give it margin 100. Let me give it 120. Okay, let me say 110. Left margin up is 50, and I'll say its width will be 200 and a height of 30. So let me run this and see our output. So currently, this is our output. Our program is asking us to enter a name here, but when we enter a name here, nothing is happening. Why? Because we have no button or no component to listen to any action or to pass the name which you have entered here. So to take in this name into our program, we need to use a component like a button, so that when you enter your name here, you click that button and submit your input to this program. So let me demonstrate that. So we'll create a button here using the J button. Let me name it submit equals to new J button. I'll set its bounds. Let's set bound. I'll give it X. I'll say X100. Margin 100 from the left. I'll give it. Let me give it 100. Let me give it 75. Top margin. I'll give it a width of 100. No, let me give it 150 and a height of 50. So I'll need to change its background color to submit dot set background. I'll give it dot green. It's a green yellow. What is the program complaining about? I'll simply make it green. Make things simple. Sorry, I'll set its background like dot set background. So I'll give it a green color. So I'll need to add this button to our frame so that it is visible. I'll copy its name and pass it in. So I have added our button. Let me run to see our output. So this is our output, but it's kind of overlapping. So I will need to push this button down more. How do I do that? I will come here to the top margin and I say 200. Okay, let me say 150, the top margin for the button. Then I'll run again to see the output. So currently our output is here, but the button is kind of kind of far, but I'll leave it there because it's just for demonstration. So as we said in our previous video, that for the button to be functional, we will need to listen for the actions performed, or we will need to add an action listener to that button. Let's do that. I'll use the .add action listener, which adds the action listener to our button. And I'll pass in a new action listener. I have to import it. I have to implement all the abstract methods for the action listener. I'll comment this out and press enter. So for you to get the input from the JTextField, we will need to use the .getText method. So this is our text field, and we want any user input entered to be captured when we click the button. Let me run and I show you what I mean. This is our text field. So when we enter our name, for example, Jacob, here, and we click our button, we need to capture this name and print it here in the console for the meantime. For example, when we click here submit, we want to print it here in the output. So for us to be able to do that, we will need to we'll need to use the .getText method of the text field. So how do we do that? We get this JT name, which is our text field name. We come here in the button and we say, once you click the button, you go to the text field and you get the text which is in that text field. .getText. So this .getText, it's a string by type. So I can assign this to a variable, a string variable, like this. I can assign it to a variable like this, or I can print it directly to the output. So if I assign a variable like this, I will then print this variable in the output, like this. I can print a name like that. So I'll run this. Now, this program is asking us for a name. If I say Jacob and I click here, we must be able to see our name here in the output. So if I click here, you see that it's printing Jacob here. It is printing what is here in the text field. If you click again, it's there. So I can put another name like Annette. If I click, it will be showing you that Annette is entered there. We need to also, let me demonstrate another thing. If it's blank and I print, it will not show anything. Let me check, what do we need to do else? What if the user inputs in something which is blank? We'll need to limit that so that you cannot submit anything which is blank. For example, if I ask you for a name and you put anything in which is blank, it should not be taken. Let me see. Now you see here in our output, we outputted some lines which are blank, and after that we outputted this text. So we should be able to trim all spaces from our input. How do we do that? Let me close this. First of all, I'll show you what I was meaning, that we can print out this in one single line. Instead of passing our name here, we can just come here and get this JText and pass it here in the printout. So we comment out this. If you run, you'll be able to get the same output like before. So this is our output. If I say Jane, you see that nothing has changed. So I just wanted to show you also that. But to keep things simple, I'll go back to what we had. This name. So when we get this name, when getting this name, we can do other customization. For example, we can trim all the spaces which are at the last of the name. For example, how do we do that? We can just come here and we say dot trim. If you add this, you'll be able to trim all the spaces. For example, if we run this, this is our output. If you say Jane and then you put a space here, once you submit, that space will not be there as long as the space is at the last. For example, if you see our name, it's only Jane, the space is left out. So that is what the dot trim will do. Let me demonstrate this without the dot trim. Let me run this. So if I say Jane and I put spaces here, then submit, our output will be having spaces, as you see. So that's why it's always good to use the dot trim so that you trim off all the spaces. We have other methods we can use. For example, we can also put our output in lowercase. We can change the casing. For example, after using the dot trim, let me use back the dot trim to remove the spaces. We can do some method chaining, and we say dot to lowercase, so that we put everything in lowercase. We can say dot lowercase or dot uppercase. So it depends on what we want. We can say dot lowercase to put everything in lowercase. Let me run. So for example, if we say that our name here is Jane and we submit, everything will be in lowercase, yet we entered it in capital letters. So if I print, this is what we will get. We entered the name in capital letters, but it's printed out in small letters. For example, if we say dot to uppercase, we put everything in uppercase. So let me run this. So if I say Jane and I say submit, so I think you are able to see that our output here is in capital letters. So no matter what you put in, for example, even if you say Jane like this, it will output everything in capital letters. So also there are other methods you can use on our input. So you can explore more and use it based on your desires. So there are very many methods you can use. For example, how do you know those methods or functions you can use? You just come here and you put a dot. So all these can be used on your text field or to customize your input. So all you need to do is to customize your input based on your desire.